Hey, welcome into the Big Ten Huddle. I'm your host, JR. That's Zach, and we are here to talk about the college football playoff bracket, give our prediction for the way it turns out, and all the general drama that goes on with it all. We are presented and brought to you by FanDuel. Appreciate you being here, and I gotta be honest, I'm gonna turn it over to the guy that I don't think he would ever turn down an opportunity to play some football, unlike Notre Dame. It's Zach Guggenheim.
Is it a bad time to say that I turned down a pickup game this Wednesday?
No, because you were probably injured, right?
No, I'm just twice the age of the students I'd be playing with.
That's okay. Notre Dame's not twice the age.
That's right. Marcus Freeman is, I think, the same age as me. He's close.
Marcus Freeman looks like he's much younger than everybody else.
Yeah. The only thing Marcus and I have in common is our age. That's about it.
Well, let's get to the comments and see who we got here. We got Dave says, what's worse, Bama making the playoffs after being crushed in the championship game, or Notre Dame whining? Both pretty bad, huh, Zach?
I have a couple takes there. I understand the Notre Dame whining. Like, I understand some people relish it. I don't. I really hate what the committee did to Notre Dame, and we'll talk about that here. But yeah.
And I don't think you're gonna. Yeah. Anyway, we'll talk about it in a second. So, let's see who else we got here. We got Max, probably gonna get some hate, but I think Notre Dame or BYU should have gotten in over Alabama. Also, Paul Feinbaum said earlier today he thinks the Big Ten will win another. He thinks the Big Ten will win another championship this season.
He's just trying to curse it. That's all he's doing. He's a shill.
I got what's the word? They said my family said that I picked Indiana to win because they thought I was jinxing them so that Ohio State would win. I was I don't know what the word is for that. I'm on a podcast and I can't think of the right word. I was accused of picking Indiana to help my team. Not the case. I picked Indiana because I wanted to be right. And I was right.
You were.
So. Philip here says SEC bias is in full swing today. Yes, it is. It is a good day to be SEC bias if you are rooting for the SEC bias. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
IU still underrated. IU's the number one team in the country, Kyle. I love the mentality. The Indiana fans will never be satisfied. Richard says Oregon has the easiest playoff schedule. We'll get to it in a little bit, but I think Richard is right. Don't you, Zach?
At least, well, so I still feel like I don't have a great handle on Texas Tech, and that's who they'll play after they devour JMU, which they will. That's easy. They certainly have the easiest first round because Tulane, I know Ole Miss beat Tulane by like 35. Tulane might give Ole Miss a little bit of heartburn the second time around. I'm not saying they're going to win, but like Tulane's beat a couple of Power 4 teams. JMU, I think Oregon's going to make easy work of them, but Texas Tech, I don't love Texas Tech. I don't understand the hype, but also I feel like I could be wrong on them. Like a lot of the metrics favor Texas Tech. So I'm curious about that game.
Texas Tech just kind of basically destroys everybody they play. I mean, a lot of it is kind of like Indiana last year where, they weren't necessarily playing like top 3 teams in the country, but they were still playing pretty good teams and they were destroying them. So that helps you out every time. Now I don't want to say they're exactly like Indiana because they're obviously getting a whole lot more respect than Indiana got last year, but I would say Indiana helped pave the way for something like that to happen. Mm-hmm. So Texas Tech should be thanking Indiana. Mm-hmm. Fight on Natties. What's good, gentlemen? What's good, Fight on Natty? Appreciate you being here. Mm-hmm. PK is here. Can't wait for IU to take Bama or Oklahoma to the woodshed. Yes, please do. I would love that to happen. And you saw the way that Alabama offensive line played against Georgia, who hasn't had a pass rush all season. If Alabama plays Indiana, that is going to be ugly to watch. Well, ugly for the SEC fans to watch Alabama's offensive line against Indiana. Not good.
Either of those teams, it's not going to be good.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, well, let's get right into it. Zach, the playoff bracket is here. Obviously, Notre Dame does not make it. There's a bunch of drama around Notre Dame today. We can talk about Notre Dame and their not wanting to go to a bowl game and stuff like that in a little bit, but I do want to focus on the bracket here first. General reactions, and then who do we think is going to finish with winning the entire thing? Kind of go through it each game, give a few thoughts. But first, just your general reactions. Miami makes it in at number 10. Alabama does not move at all. Ohio State only moves down to number 2. I thought Georgia would move up to number 2 and Ohio State would be number 3. Not just because of Georgia beating Alabama by a lot, but I didn't think they would want that rematch of Ole Miss and Georgia in the second round. But this committee does not care about rematches. I don't think they ever try to rig it so they don't have rematches, but I think if they can find a justification to get away from it, they typically try to, which is another reason why I had Alabama at 10 instead of at 9, because you didn't want to see a rematch of Alabama and Oklahoma again. However, that is not the case. They seem to be okay with rematches. And then the other first round game, Oregon against James Madison, the 5 versus 12 there. Yeah, go ahead and give us your reaction to the bracket, Zach.
Yeah, I think if we didn't know the CFP rankings at all going into today, I actually think this is a really good bracket. I understand the angst of Alabama. I have angst about Alabama, but a lot of the angst is coming from what has happened in previous rankings. If they just said this is the ranking, I'm like, I can understand that. Bama was the number 1 seed going into the SEC championship game. I get that. They have a number of good wins. I credit to them. Both Miami and A&M beat Notre Dame, so it makes sense that those two would be in and Notre Dame would be out. That, I understand that. I think the seeding in a lot of ways makes sense. So if the rankings were dropped just today, it's a great bracket. Here's the problem. It wasn't just dropped today. We've had 6 weeks of this crap. And Bama was behind Notre Dame until the committee wanted to protect Alabama and then put them up above Notre Dame, but kept Notre Dame above Miami because reasons. And then they just flip it on the last day. Listen, a lot of people are giving Notre Dame grief today. Notre Dame fans have a right to be ticked off. They have a real reason to be ticked off because they were basically strung along by a committee saying, well, we'll evaluate Miami, Notre Dame when they're even. That's dumb. It's just dumb. And this committee lost their darn minds in thinking that this would be okay. Anybody who's a Notre Dame hater today, saying, why are they whining and complaining? Why are they holding out of a bowl game? Listen, can you imagine week after week being told, you're safe, you're safe, you're safe, you're safe. Maybe you're not as safe, but you're still ahead. And then all of a sudden you're out. And you're out despite the fact that the team that's above you just got decimated by Georgia. Looked awful. Did not look like they could compete. Yes, I'm talking about you, Alabama. And they're in the playoff firmly at 9 when Notre Dame's out. I have full sympathy for them.
I would have sympathy for them if they did not lose to Miami. I subscribe to what you're saying about the rankings and stuff like that. I think it was completely ridiculous that Alabama got moved over Notre Dame because they went up 17-0 and then they blew that lead and then they only won by 7 points against a non-bowl eligible team in Auburn. You kidding me? That is completely ridiculous. It just shows the insane amount of SEC bias that is going on with the committee right now. And on top of that, you have every single loser of a conference championship game. Now, Ohio State, I understand because Ohio State played around other conference championship teams. Obviously, Indiana moves above them. I would have understood if Georgia moved above them. I wouldn't necessarily have
Yep.
agreed with it. I predicted that would happen, right? So
Yes.
I get these other teams moving down. I understood BYU moving down. I understood Virginia moving down. I don't think you should move down a lot because I don't think you should get, dinged all that much for essentially extra credit. Nobody else is playing a game. But I do think that this whole idea that everybody else could move down, but Alabama could not. It just shows the incredible amount of bias, the incredible amount of hate, and it shows how much the SEC whining like that's the
Yeah.
real people that whine. It shows that the SEC with how much they whined last year after Alabama didn't get into the playoffs, how much it worked, how much that did
Hmm.
work. And to me, that's I need Tony Petitti to come out and every single time he's up against the media to tell people why Iowa should have been higher in the rankings, to tell people why Oregon should have been a top 4 team. It's ridiculous that Texas Tech is above them. I'm not necessarily saying I subscribe to this stuff. I'm just saying, like,
Yep.
that's the kind of homerism that Tony Petitti needs to come out with because it obviously works, right? It obviously works. And if Greg Sankey is going to have the mouth that can come out there and say it, then Tony Petitti needs to as well. I understand working behind the scenes, yada, yada, yada. But when it's proven that it works, you have to go out there and protect your conference. It's the same thing with arguing with referees, right? It's proven that arguing with referees works. You need to go out there and protect your team and argue with referees. Tony Petitti needs to go out there and argue with the committee, argue with the media, just like Greg Sankey does.
I agree. I agree. Back to your point, when I say I have sympathy for Notre Dame, the committee was right to leave out Notre Dame. Like,
Yes.
if you were going like, and this is again, this is part of every game has to matter. They lost to the 7 seed and the 10 seed. They're out. And I'm okay with that. I just hate how it was done. And I think I hate that there's no ramifications for Alabama losing the way they did. Even if it was just they went from 9 to 10. Like I agree with your point entirely. I have no problem with them still being in the field as much as it is they're not affected at all by getting boat raced by Georgia.
Yeah. Oh, and I think that not Miami, sorry, Notre Dame is going to take a real serious look at this ACC agreement that they have right now because the
Mhm.
ACC did not provide them enough quality teams in the second half of the season to be able, like their best team they played in the second half of the season was USC. The Big Ten provided you a more quality game.
Yep.
Excuse me, and you don't even have an agreement with the Big Ten. Guess who you're going to lose out on playing in the future? USC if you don't schedule them at the beginning of the season, but that was Notre Dame's biggest issue is they played their best games at the beginning of the season. It's funny to
Yep.
me how last year everybody was talking about how great of a situation Notre Dame was in, how much money they made and everything else. And I kept thinking to myself, okay, if they make the playoffs, yes, they are in a great situation with the amount of money they're pocketing, right? All these other schools have to share the money with their conference. But what happens when they don't? What happens when they need a conference championship game to get in? What happens when they don't
Mhm.
have good enough games in the back half of the schedule? Because as much as we would like to think the ACC has Clemson and Florida State went 2-10 one year. Florida State went 5-7 this year. Clemson went 6-6 this year. Like these teams that you think can be reliable teams for you to play and be good pieces for your resume just cannot be that for you in the ACC because they do not have top tier caliber teams consistently enough. And it's honestly, going to force Notre Dame to really take a long, hard look at, number one, their agreement with the ACC, and number two, how important is independence to them, right? Is it
Yep.
important enough that you're going to miss the playoffs every now and then? Because it looks like that could probably happen.
Yeah.
Um, you
I
know,
I saw this circulating a bit that starting next year Notre Dame is guaranteed a spot in the playoffs as long as they finish ranked top 12. I've seen that. Has that been verified?
yeah. So that was the agreement that they made. What was it? Last year before the playoffs or something like that. Yeah. So basically, when conference championship games got, you know, assured for every school that they could go to their conference championship game and win it. Notre Dame was like, "Well, what about us?" And they were like, "Join a conference." And they were like, "No." And they were like, "Okay, well we'll make a, a rule to help you out." And, you know, That's how it worked out. So it only applies to the 12 team and the 14 team playoff, though. If they expand to 16 teams, that agreement is out the door.
But this is saying starting next year, Notre Dame is guaranteed a spot. So this
Yeah.
looks like it's something new.
Yeah, I believe they agreed on it last year. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they agreed on it this year.
I see.
But I don't believe it took effect right away. I think it like took a
Oh,
year or
okay.
two
I
to come
was
into effect.
misunderstanding.
Yeah.
I thought like it happened today, right after they missed it, and I was like,
Oh,
the vote happened. I'm like, this can't be right. Okay,
I mean,
fine.
maybe it did. I'll double check and make sure, but I was not aware that it happened today if it did. Um,
Yeah.
okay, so let's talk
Can I?
through. Oh,
Oh,
go ahead.
I was just two more things, real
Go
quick.
ahead. Yep.
Let's not. Speaking of ACC culpability, let's not, let the ACC off the leash for their ridiculous tiebreaker stuff. Like if Miami is actually in the ACC championship game, which they should have been, and they beat Virginia like they would have, like this is not a problem. Like Notre Dame's in and JMU is out. So like all the people like doing the group of 5 hand wringing, like, oh my gosh, we have 2 group of 5 teams. Blame the ACC. Blame them for being mid and for having stupid tiebreaker rules. So that's one. The other thing is,
Can I comment on that really fast?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
I will say I completely understand where people are coming from with two group of five teams in the playoffs. I don't think there should really ever be two group of five teams in the playoffs, but I agree with you. It's more the ACC's fault than anything else, and I think they need to be the ones that have the angst directed at them, not James Madison. Not too late. Like they didn't do anything but go out and win games. Like what are we
right.
mad at them for? You can be mad at the format and everything too, I suppose, but I do think that like we also need to recognize here that it's important to have at least one G5 team in, not
Yes.
two. Right? We don't need two, but to have at least one in because there have been times when one G5 team could beat a top, one of the top tier Power Four teams. Does that mean they're going to go on and win the national championship? No, but could Tulane beat Ole Miss? Maybe. I know they got killed earlier in the season, so they probably won't. But you never know. I mean, it's college football and it's crazy, and Ole Miss doesn't have their head coach, so
It's true.
who knows? All right, what was your other thing?
Just real quick, and Douglas Maurice brought this point up, and I think it's good. When you're debating about spots 11 and 12, the system, like, no offense, you probably are not going to win. And I know Notre Dame would have been a real player in this, I think.
Yeah, I
But
got
don't
a
put your
chart to show you here in just a second. Go
yeah,
ahead.
but don't put yourself in a position to be 10, 11, and 12. Like I'm like at the end of the day, this is not like the 14 playoff, right? Where you like really, really good teams got left out of that. This is one of those where, like, listen, if you're 10 and 2 or 9 and 3 and you're upset for being left out, I'm sorry. But like do your schedule better.
Yeah, no, I generally agree with you. The only pushback I would have, is that because of how much SEC bias there is,
Yeah.
you,
I
you
don't
can't
disagree
actually
with that
control it.
either.
You can't actually control it because you can't actually control number one, how good your schedule is, and number two, what the narrative around your schedule
Yeah.
is, right? If you're in the Big Ten, Indiana last year, perfect example, they had the two teams that played in the national championship on their schedule the year before, and everybody said, Indiana sucks because their schedule sucks. Okay. I'm not arguing that Michigan and Washington were good teams last year. Okay, obviously they both finished the regular season 7-5. It didn't look great. However, it's not like Indiana picked for them to have all the scraps in the Big Ten, right? But Texas A&M has it happen for them, and they lose to Texas, and everybody's like, "Oh, Texas A&M, they're still a good team." Why didn't Texas A&M get the same treatment this season that Indiana got last season? It's because
Yeah.
of SEC bias. It's because people have this idea that, oh, well, you beat SEC teams, they're just better than everybody else. Not necessarily. And the one time you were tested that season, Texas A&M honestly should be a 10 or an 11 seed in this bracket
Yeah.
based on what happened last year. I'm not saying that they should absolutely. I'm just saying based on what happened last year with Indiana. But they did beat Notre Dame, so give them some credit there. Early on in the season, but still, it's pretty ridiculous in some ways. So, Dave with a
Agree.
super chat. Dave, appreciate you having you here. $5 says Duke, Alabama, and Miami of Ohio should have not been playing their conference championships. Tiebreakers were ridiculous. Yeah, because Alabama was technically the number one in the SEC. Like they were the top seed in that, which was kind of crazy. Duke had no business. The ACC one is the absolute craziest one, right? You played a conference team and it didn't count as a conference game. You lost, and that's how you were still able to make the conference championship game. like,
Again,
honestly, they kind of
ACC, man.
yeah, I mean, they kind of deserve it with how terrible that whole process is there. But yeah, no, I agree with you, Dave. I agree. Um, how would you feel about auto bids for conferences, but the selection committee chooses the top like four? Like it's not standings. It's like you choose the top four in the conference. Like instead of the committee going out with a top 25, the committee came out and said, "We think these are the four best teams in the Big Ten. We think these are the four best teams in the SEC." No, why not?
No. I want committees to be taken out back. Like, let's just take the whole committee back out and shoot it. Like,
Okay,
not actually, but
what a go ahead, sorry.
well, so like I'm in knee deep into high school football in Pennsylvania, and they have like a rating system with strength of schedule, strength of record, all that stuff. And it's calculated, and like, yes, it may be off at times, but I would much rather just have this as an objective measure, and that's how we're gonna I like auto bids. I don't want people anywhere near picking this anymore because they don't know what they're doing. And they've proven that time and time again. And they get worse every single time.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I'm a little heated about this. Like,
That's okay. I get it.
Get the human element out of this because we don't know what we're doing.
Yeah. Yeah. Um yes. Yeah. I agree with you. I was going to say what if we had a committee formed by each conference for each conference? Like Tony Petitti and his cronies choose the committee for the Big Ten, Greg Sankey and his cronies choose the committee for the SEC. Like, what if it's not like a national committee? Like, I think it's more doable to say, "Hey, here's a group of athletic directors from our conference," or maybe that's a bad idea, but here's a group of people from our conference. They're gonna watch only our conference, and their only job is to select the four best teams from this conference.
Sorry, we're talking about all these committees. It's just making me think of like church leadership committees delegating to different. I was like, this never goes well. This never goes well.
If you are a part of a church and you have ever seen church leadership committees, we probably do need some less of those as well. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm not trying to. I just don't. I'm like,
joke.
maybe I'm just triggered by the word committee. I don't know. Like, I mean, maybe. But even then,
I'm trying to look for a way to have automatic qualifiers, but it's not like gets rid of the committee thing. Because I've even heard people say, "Well, the committee is a big part of, the tradition and everything else," which I don't know if I agree with that. But anyway,
we've been doing this for 13 years, 12 years.
Well, you had
what
the
tradition?
you had the BCS, right? I mean, that was kind of a committee, but that was more of an analytical system. But still, kind of like it wasn't an auto thing. You earned your way in, right? Earned your way in. But yeah.
I just think we need to set up the system, make it, and we set the metrics, right? You set the metrics beforehand. The thing that frustrates me, and it's been frustrating about the playoff too, is every year, like we tinker with it because we don't like the result. And I'm like, but this is what we signed. Like, and that was true with the BCS too. Like everybody's like, well, we don't like this because these two teams got in. And it's like, that's what the system was designed to do. Like, who cares what you feel?
Mhm.
Like the NFL playoffs, like nobody's sitting there and it's like, oh, Cincinnati should be in. Like we saw them play with Joe Burrow. They were 5-1 when he was in. It's like, yeah, but they lost 7 games while he was injured. Sorry. Like, I don't actually know how many games they lost, but I
Fair.
nobody cares at the end of an NFL season. But we just want so much control in college football. And it's like, just set a system. Let the system decide it. Get rid of this subjective stupidity.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. Max is vying for likes in the chat for me. I told the story about how my family is going to Disney, being funded by this YouTube channel. So, if you are so inclined to help my family be able to take a vacation, and take my kids to, an overpriced theme park, we would greatly appreciate it. All you have to do is like the video, and
Mm.
the algorithm takes care of itself. So, thanks for reminding that, Max. And if anybody would like to like and subscribe, we would definitely appreciate it if you do that. All right, gut reaction, and then we'll move on, Zach, because we're going to go through each of the playoff teams in the Big Ten and talk about how they're going to win the national championship, or how they could win the national championship. Gut reactions here, though. Alabama, Oklahoma. Who do you think wins?
Oklahoma, Alabama. I think Oklahoma will win again because it's at home.
Okay.
And I've seen nothing from Alabama the past several weeks that makes me think they're going to get right.
I think Alabama should win, but I think the way they've been playing lately is not. It's not nearly good enough. And I don't
Yeah,
think
I
Ty
agree
Simpson
with
is.
that.
Yeah, I don't think Ty Simpson is nearly as good as people thought he was back in the, you know,
Yeah.
4 or 5 weeks ago. So I'm with you, Oklahoma. All right, Texas A&M and Miami. Who's your first reaction there?
Um, man, which Carson Beck shows up? I'm gonna pick Miami. I think Ruben Bain is gonna make life really challenging for
It's
A&M.
it's a really good matchup. The defensive line of Miami versus that offensive line for Texas A&M. And as much as Carson Beck has had his issues, Marcel Reed has had his issues too. I'm inclined to pick Miami, though. I agree with you. I don't think Texas A&M has been tested enough this season. I think they got Notre Dame very early on. I think they benefited from some bad calls in that Notre Dame game to get them the win. And then on top of that, if Texas can beat you, I think I think Miami can beat you. So I'm gonna go with
Mhm.
Miami there. Ole Miss, Tulane, no coach for Ole Miss. I shouldn't say no coach. Pete Golding, the new coach for Ole Miss. You think Ole Miss is gonna take it here?
You know how much I want to pick Tulane here.
I
I'm
know
gonna
you
pick
do.
Tulane to cover. But Ole Miss wins.
Okay. All right. Dave comes with another $5. Dave, you're awesome tonight, man.
Mm.
We are gonna be buying like a fourth of a milkshake with these $5 super chats at Disney. Appreciate it. Uh, college football YouTubers should be running the college football playoff system. University athletic directors do not know what they're doing. I could not subscribe more to that theory. This whole
We want to
idea that
be on
like
that committee.
yeah, like this whole idea of like higher education, administrators are the people that need to be running college football rankings and like it's just honestly ridiculous. I don't know if it should be YouTubers, but there definitely should be people that do this professionally. Like if you come to me and you're like, yeah, I would like for the university janitor to pick the next head football coach, you'd be like, that's stupid. Then why are we letting university athletic directors pick who makes the playoffs? Like
Mhm.
give me the people who watch football all the time and, don't really, I shouldn't say don't really care about anything else. People do have families, but uh, don't really do all that much else. So, I believe it. So, Joe says Disney milkshake is 50, so 10% of the
That's
milkshake.
that's not that's not true. It's not $50.
Oh,
It
Joe,
just
just
feels like
just let us have our
$50.
fun, Zach. Let us have our fun.
I got to defend Disney when I can. So
That's funny. All right, Oregon, James Madison. I don't think there's any questions. Oregon here.
yeah, JMU is going to win that one. No, sorry. Or Oregon big, Oregon massive.
James Madison does have some like really good statistics, like stuff rate and their success rate of their defense and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, they've been playing in the Sun Belt's not a terrible G5 conference, but yeah. Which I also find it funny. Have you noticed how much Vanderbilt, Clark Lee, and Diego Pavia are going off about the G5 teams in the playoffs and everything? Have you?
No, no,
They
I
are.
I I, I try to mute anything that Diego Pavia says.
Now, obviously, it wasn't this season, but I did find it funny that they were one of the SEC teams that lost to a G5 team last year,
Yeah, to like a
and they're
four
one
and
of
eight,
those.
4-8 Georgia State. Yeah,
So anyway, I had to bring that up at some point on here.
yeah.
Okay. So Indiana, Oklahoma. Any chance you're taking Oklahoma in that one?
No, but I think I do wonder the like. I wonder how Mateer does as a more seasoned quarterback than Julian Sand does. But I've got Indiana in that game. I don't think Oklahoma will be able to move the ball much
I don't
in
think
that
so
game.
either. I think Indiana will probably shut them out or be very close to a shutout in that one.
Yeah.
So, Ohio State, Miami.
Um, that's a tough one, if I'm honest, because I think Ruben Bain will give again Ohio State real problems, especially if Tegra Shabola plays. He has been not very good. The right side again was a huge liability against Indiana. I'm inclined to lean Ohio State, but I would not be shocked if Miami won that game. But I'll pick Ohio State.
I think it's Ohio State. Carson Beck, I don't think would have a very good day against this Ohio State secondary. He's no Fernando Mendoza. You
That
know,
yeah, I think that's fair. That's
and
fair.
I mean, we saw Louisville get dominated on the lines of scrimmage against Miami, and they still won because Carson Beck couldn't throw a pass to his team.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
So
fair. That's fair.
Max is asking how many picks will Carson Beck throw against Ohio State? I mean, at least two, right?
Well, but that's the thing. Like Ohio State doesn't really get picks. I think they've
No,
had 8 all season
no, but it
in
typically
13
does
games.
when there's pressure, right? I mean, when you're pressuring the quarterback, that's when they come the most. They don't have a ton this
Yeah.
season. They have 8, yeah, but yeah. So, all right, Georgia, Ole Miss. Georgia wins the rematch.
Yeah, Georgia.
Yeah. Texas Tech, Oregon. I take Oregon in that one. I think Oregon's
Yeah.
faster. I think they're stronger. I think they have the offensive line that can compete with a good Texas Tech. I know it's kind of bashing Texas Tech's defensive line last episode. I didn't mean to say that they were like bad or anything like that. I just don't think they're the best defensive line in the country. And I think Oregon's offensive line is looking really, really good. So obviously, as long as those guys are healthy, even if they're not healthy, their backups have played pretty well too. But I definitely am going to pick Oregon in that one.
Yeah. My main question is I don't think Texas Tech will be the best defensive line they've played. But
No,
when they
Indiana
did play
is.
in yeah, when they played Indiana and when they played Penn State too, the offensive tackles they're good, but they struggled in pass protection. And so that's something to I think to watch out for. In that if they would obviously if they beat JMU and play Texas Tech. But I pick Oregon as well.
Just make sure they have Big Ten refs and you can hold as much as you want, and it'll be fine.
Wow.
And I'm
Wow.
not talking about the Indiana game when I say that. Indiana fans were complaining when Oregon was holding them in the Oregon game because it's Big Ten refs. They don't call
Yeah.
holding.
Yeah. Why is that guy's shirt missing? Oh well, must have been a clean play.
Sir, your shirt is ripped in half. Yeah, it was a pass rushing all game. They didn't call holding once.
Yep.
All right. Well, then rematch Indiana, Oregon in the Final Four. Who you got?
Oh man. Rematches are hard but I'm inclined to pick Indiana because I'm not sure how healthy Oregon's gonna be. But I feel like 52-48 on that.
I do think beating the same team twice is difficult. But I think Indiana gets it done there. Unless Oregon's offensive line just is much, much better in that one, which is definitely possible. I think Indiana probably gets that one, especially neutral site. They won at Oregon last time.
Yeah.
So, and then Ohio State, Georgia on the other side. First reaction?
Honestly, Georgia.
I don't think so. I'd go with Ohio State.
I did not love, and we'll talk about it here. I didn't love the game plan by Ohio State. Now, maybe they'll change, but I don't know. I don't know.
do you subscribe to my theory that Ohio State was just very, very distracted? And I'm not taking anything away by saying this about Indiana. Indiana won and they deserved to win, and we gave them plenty, plenty of flowers, plenty of credit last episode. So I'm not taking anything away from Indiana by saying this, but I do think it needs to be acknowledged. Do you think that Ohio State was distracted last week with Chris Henry Jr., both Brian Hartline and Matt Patricia both talking about head coach openings with other schools? Obviously, the recruiting drama with other recruits and everything coming off the win against Michigan. Ryan Day was obviously still thinking about the Michigan game when he was making jokes about the comms and stuff like that. I mean, there were a lot of distractions last week for Ohio State. And it didn't look like it got to the players, but it looks like it may have gotten to the coaches.
It's possible. It's possible. And maybe this is me, and Bootzilla's giving me a little grief in the chat. Not bad grief.
I mean, he's making fair points.
He's making fair points. Yeah. I just here's my concern. All season we've been kind of critical about the 13 personnel packages, 14 personnel, and it's like you knew, like you didn't have to watch very hard to know that Indiana would probably prefer to have 3 linebackers instead of 2 on the field. They never stressed it at all. Now, I will say this. They mentioned that they didn't want to have Smith and Tate playing a ton of snaps in this game because they still want them to get healthy. So maybe they'll go more 11 personnel in the playoff, which I think they need to do, which we'll talk about later. I think if they let their horses run and they're not worrying about injuries, Ohio State beats Georgia.
Yeah, I think Ohio State beats Georgia too. And also, I think you have to get big plays on Ohio State's defense in order to beat them. And even Indiana had multiple big plays. They still only put up 13 points in that game, right? I don't think Georgia gets enough big plays. Running game, maybe, but I don't think you're going to get consistent big plays from the running game against Ohio State. Michigan got some, but they were not able to move the ball well enough.
Yeah.
So, all right. So then we got national championship, Ohio State, Indiana. I'm not going to make you pick it. We'll just leave it at that because, we just saw it. I think it'd be pretty easy to pick Indiana in that one again. But, yeah, I think there's a really, really good path here for those two to meet in the national championship. And, who knows? Oregon could get there as well. I think Oregon has the best path to get there short of Indiana. I mean, obviously, Indiana, a very difficult game to get to the national championship. But you take that game for getting the James Madison and the Texas Tech matchups.
Yeah. I will say there's a bit of trepidation in my heart where, the 2006 season, you had number 1 Ohio State versus number 2 Michigan. Everybody was convinced those were the 2 best teams in the country, and then they get blown out. I don't think that's going to happen. But there's a little bit in the back of my mind where I'm like, I think I'm seeing things right, but was this a mirage? I don't think it is. Mm-hmm. But I think there's a little bit of post-traumatic stress from that year where I'm like, please don't have us talk all this junk to the SEC and then the SEC gets the last laugh. That would be terrible. Then Paul Feinbaum would be our overlord.
They'll be whining again in their spring meetings, handing out pamphlets. This team should have been in the playoffs.
Oh gosh.
Anyway. All right. Any other thoughts on the bracket before we move on?
No.
Okay. All right. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go through each individual Big Ten team. Whoops. Sorry. There we go. We're going to go through each individual Big Ten team that is in the playoffs and give our 5 reasons why they can win it all. Ohio State is 5 corrections they need to make in order to win it all. And then Oregon is just 5 plain things they need to do that they've done this season in order to win it all. So, Zach, let's start with Indiana. 5 reasons why they can win it all. I'll start. Quite frankly, it's just the elite front 7 and scheme of this defense. To me, Bryant Haynes is the best defensive coordinator in college football right now. The Hoosiers held Ohio State to their lowest point total that they have in the past 18 games. Last time that happened was Missouri. Last time it was lower than that was Missouri, and that's when Ohio State was on their 3rd-string quarterback and backup center and all this other stuff in a bowl game against Missouri. In a game that I'm convinced Ohio State did not want to win. I don't know why they didn't want to win, but it sure looked like they played that way, which is probably worse than just outright losing altogether. But they've bounced back, and their offense has looked much better. and Indiana did a fantastic job against them. I think that the play calls and stuff like that definitely Ohio State needs to get those kind of things corrected, but I I I go back to it. Ohio State was not able to throw the deep ball
Mhm.
because Indiana was able to keep their safeties back. It was that front seven of Indiana that was able to stop the run consistently in that game. Maybe with, Carnell Tate, Jeremiah Smith, and Brandon Ennis in there, you see less linebackers with Indiana. Maybe that changes. That's always possible. But, Ohio State, if they weren't getting big plays, they weren't able to. I shouldn't say they weren't able to move the ball. They were able to move the ball later on. But it was evident that they needed more space to move the ball. And once things got condensed down in the red zone, they were not nearly as successful. And Indiana's front seven, I think, deserves a lot of credit for that.
Yeah. Yeah. Those linebackers, they may not be the most athletic, but they are the most disciplined and well coached, and they trigger insanely well.
And Relija, I'm probably pronouncing his name wrong. I apologize.
Elijah
Relija Hardy,
Hardy.
Relija Hardy, man, he is one of the best linebackers in the country. People do not
Yeah.
give him enough
He's
credit. When I put out there like the elite versus elite stuff with Indiana and Ohio State, I had people arguing with me. Oh no, the two elite linebackers for Indiana are Isaiah Jones and Aiden Fisher. Don't get me wrong, Isaiah Jones, fantastic linebacker. Okay, he's fantastic, but Elijah Hardy is insane. He's an insane linebacker. His trigger, his drive to be able to get to the ball, the way he is able to make tackles even when he's not in great situations, the amount of times that he was able to get running backs for Ohio State down with one arm. It's not like he clotheslined them and tore them down, but he was just able to get them, trip them up enough to be able to keep them away from some big runs. It was really, really impressive. And he's been really impressive all season long. So Elijah
Yep.
Hardy, big reason why. All right, what's your reason, Zach?
Fernando Mendoza is the best quarterback in the tournament. Like you could, I think, make a case for Sayan. I think you could make a case for Dante Moore. I don't know if you can make a case for anybody like Gunnar Stockton. No, like he's struggled. Ty Simpson, absolutely not. John Mateer, no. But here's the thing: Fernando Mendoza just outdueled Julian Sayan, and he outdueled Dante Moore. So he is the best quarterback in this tournament. He's going to win the Heisman, and he has ice in his veins. So that's who I'd want to roll with in this tournament. Is the best quarterback in the group of 12 teams.
I mean, he's the best quarterback because Diego Pavia is not in there, right?
He is far superior to that Joker. Get him out of here.
I'm just messing with you. I do think that we need to add in there the wide receivers for Indiana too. The guys that were able to step up. Omar Cooper Jr. went out of that game early. EJ Williams was stepped up. Jonathan Brady even was in there. I think he had a catch or two in that game. Charlie Becker, his 33-yard reception at the end of the game there. I think it was second or third down, that deep reception he had. Really says a lot that Fernando Mendoza trusts his guys that much. Ohio State has the best wide receiver room in the country. I still believe that, but Indiana is either tied or not far behind. Their wide receiver room is insane.
Yep, I agree.
So,
Well, and we'll talk about that more in a minute.
Yeah. Number 3, mine is running the ball. They have the second best rushing success rate in the Big Ten. You know who has the first, right?
Ohio State.
No, Oregon.
Oregon
rushing.
does.
Yeah, it's the rushing.
Oh,
rate,
yes,
so.
yes.
But when opposing teams are trying to stop Indiana on the ground, you just have no answers because you have guys like Charlie Becker who can go deep. You have guys like Elijah Surratt who are going to hit you with the out routes. Omar Cooper Jr. is going to run over the middle, either a dig route or going deep down the seam, whatever it might be. They just have so many versatile wide receivers that can do so many versatile things that allows Indiana to open up that run game. The safeties have to stay back, and when that run game is moving along, there's nothing you can really do to stop them. So even when Indiana wasn't able to run the ball all that well in the game against Ohio State, they were able to pass the ball because of how many resources Ohio State had to commit to stopping the run. And I think that if they can do that to Ohio State, they can do that to basically anybody else in the country.
Yep, I agree.
So,
Good.
all right, you're number 4.
Yeah, and I think this is for part of this with the receivers. Hoosiers have time to get healthy. Like Omar Cooper was gimpy. Surratt, I mean, he was in there, but Surratt got banged up earlier this season. Fisher was out earlier this season. Like, you're gonna have time to rest and recover. And so you're getting a fresh Indiana squad with whoever they play in that quarterfinal. And yes, they will probably have to deal with injuries then, but like they have three and a half weeks to get right.
Well, and there is not enough credit, I don't think, for Khalil Benson in that game too, right? Zen Mahalski
Mhm.
started that game at right tackle, and it
That
was
was
ugly.
rough.
It was
Yeah.
ugly,
Yeah, good
and
call on that.
once Khalil Benson came in there, I believe it was the end or the middle of the second quarter, Caden Curry was not able to do as much. Now, Khalil Benson is not the best pass protector in the world, but I think he's savvier, and he's definitely a much better run blocker than Zim
Mhm.
Mahalski was. And so credit to Indiana and credit to him because it looked like the plan was not for him to play. He was on special teams. I noticed that. So I was like, okay, well, maybe he could. And they eventually put him in the second quarter. I don't know what the story was there, but great job by him coming in. And if that offensive line can get completely healthy, it's huge for them.
Yep,
So,
agreed.
all right, last reason why Indiana will win it all: third down. In a nutshell, they are excellent on third down, first nationally, and third down conversion rate 55.8%. That speaks to their efficiency. That speaks to how calm they are. That speaks to their play calling in just so many different areas. We even saw that against Ohio State. They were excellent. And they are second in third down conversion rate allowed by that defense. I know Ohio State eventually got 4 third down conversions in that game. I think 3 of those 4 happened on the final drive when Ohio State was moving the ball. Not the final drive, the second final drive when Ohio
Mm.
State actually moved the ball down the field. Before that, they had only had 1 third down conversion that game, and you could tell that was difficult for Ohio State to deal with. And so, if Indiana can get you to third down, it's not only going to end well for you on either
Yep.
side of the ball.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah. Good stuff.
all right. See if there's any other comments or anything in the chat. Steely Matt, appreciate you sharing the stream on Twitter X. If anybody else is out there on Twitter X wants to share the stream, we appreciate it. If you want to like and subscribe, we appreciate that as well. 71 Big Easy says all Big Ten college football playoff final will be a nightmare for Feinbaum and the SEC. We would love to see it. I mean, it can't be
Yeah.
all right because they only have 3 in there, but
Well,
imagine
no,
if it's
no,
all.
he's saying a final, like
Oh,
last
final national
game,
championship.
championship game.
Gotcha. Okay. Sorry, I misread that. Thank you for
Mm.
correcting there. But even 3 out of the 4 being Big Ten in the final
Yeah,
4,
that
that
would
would be a
be
nightmare as well.
insane. It'd be
Yeah.
insane.
All right. Good deal. All right. Moving on to Ohio State now. 5 corrections Ohio State must make in order to win it all. Ohio State is a
Mm.
team that is capable of winning it all. And last season, we were kind of talking about the same thing with Ohio State. They needed to correct things after the Michigan game. Well, Ohio State needs to correct some things here as well in order to win it all after losing that game to Indiana. Indiana is a much better team than Michigan was last year, so it's not completely a doomsday disaster, but Indiana is the number 1 seed, and if you want to win the national championship, you're probably going to face Indiana in the end, or a team that beat Indiana in the end. So,
Mhm.
Zach, what is your number 1 correction Ohio State must make to win it all?
My number 1 correction is actually your number 4 correction, so I will
Oh, we had the same
divert.
one.
Well, we did. It would have been my first one, but I'll let you. I'll let you say it. Here's my first one. Don't take Tate and Smith off the field ever. Play more 11 personnel. Like, get rid of the 13 and 14 personnel stuff. Like, I don't know why you have Bennett Christian. No offense to Bennett Christian. No offense to Roberts. But like, play your best players and force other teams to have to play different personnel packages on defense. Like, get your guys in space. That's what they're good at. And I think that would help slow things down for Julian Sayin as well to give him more space. So I think retire the 13 and 14 personnel in the red zone, play more 11 personnel.
And they're still talking about it in the chat about like Carnell Tate and not playing as much. Smith did play a lot. Bootsil has given us the numbers here. He says 53 of 57 plays were Jeremiah Smith was in there. I completely subscribe to what you're saying, even if you don't have Tate in there, because you have guys like Quincy Porter behind him who I mean I think was Quincy Porter hurt in this game.
Everybody was good, at
Okay.
least according to the availability report. Now we know the availability report it's like whose line points are made up and nothing matters.
Yeah.
So,
but I mean, your backup wide receivers are better than your third and fourth string tight end for Ohio State, and it's nothing against the tight ends for Ohio State. It's just Ohio State has incredible wide receivers. It's just the way it is. So I completely agree with you. So, all right, number 2, kind of what you're talking about, the red zone. I think if they are going to go to some more of these 13 and 14 personnel packages in the red zone, they need to use Lincoln Keen-Holtz much more. We saw Lincoln Keen-Holtz early, not early on, later in the season. We did not see him against Michigan. We did not see him in this game against Indiana. If you want to run the ball with your quarterback, even if it's a quarterback sneak, you need to put Lincoln Keen-Holtz in there. I'm sorry. I like Julian saying he's a good quarterback, obviously, but he does not have the strength of a Will Howard to keep his feet, especially for a full yard, to make a full yard quarterback sneak on that one. The line, I mean, give the offensive line credit. They got the push to be able to get him there, but he just lost his feet, and he's just, honestly, like, I hate to say it about him because I like him, but he's just too small, unfortunately, to run some of the quarterback sneaks. And I think you need to have Lincoln Keen-Holtz in there more. Number 1, to mix it up and make the defense more honest. And number 2, in those situations with the quarterback sneak, Lincoln Keen-Holtz needs to be the guy.
Are you saying Julian Sain's not like Jalen Hurts?
No, he is not. He does not have the lower body strength of one Jalen Hurts. Get Julian Sain on the squat rack this offseason.
Man.
Maybe it'll be different, but
no tush push for you.
Man, I almost said something I would not like to say. All right, anyway.
Whoops.
Go ahead. Number 3.
Number three. So I changed this. Jermaine Matthews and like whoever the corners are outside of Davis and Igbinosun just flat out need to play better. Like Jermaine Matthews got beat a bunch. Lorenzo Styles got beat a ton. Devin Sanchez was lost a bit in coverage. Like outside of Igbinosun, who I thought he played really well, the corners were, as you put it, they were the fish. I mean, Styles was a fish, but so was Matthews. If we're being honest. They've got to shore that back end up because if all of a sudden this defense is allowing big plays down the field, it undercuts their ability to put pressure on teams, which is how they've won.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I totally agree. I do think that sometimes they put too much on the corner's plate. Jermaine Matthews and Davison and Migos and guys like that. But at the same time, you're right. They have to be better. If they play for Ohio State, the talent and everything else they have there, they have to be better. And you have to be ready for stuff like that. Jermaine Matthews should not have let Charlie Becker get that ball over him for the 33-yard pass. But Charlie Becker's really good. What are you going to do? So, all right. Number 4 for me, Ohio State needs to figure out who their best 5 offensive linemen are and play them. I don't want to do any more of the switching. I don't do any more of like, we'll figure out this guy this game, and maybe if this guy plays well this game. I don't want to figure it out. All right, who's your best 5? Go with it. Don't do any more switching. Don't do anything else. And if you believe in a guy, keep him in there the entire game. Even if you believe in Tigre Shabola and he loses you the game, I would feel better if you just went with him for the entire game and said, this is our guy. I don't like the wishy-washy. I don't like the bring this guy in, bring this guy out. Just choose who your best 5 are and play those best 5. Give them chemistry, work them together. Because honestly, Ohio State does struggle with the stunts and stuff like that sometimes. And I think part of that is because they don't have all of them playing together all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I would boldly say Tegra's not one of their best 5.
Yeah.
And I want to, no offense to the kid, but he has not been one of their best 5.
Yeah. Yeah. Bootzilla said Porter was out on the availability report, so hopefully he's
Oh,
back
was
for the
he?
playoffs. But
Okay, I missed that.
again, my point stands. Like even if you couldn't put Porter in there, you should have had enough depth at the wide receiver. The way Brian Hartline has, recruited
Recruited
that
that room.
position,
Yeah.
and guys got time leading up to that game too, right? Like you've got a failure development there if you can't have 5 stars playing.
Yep.
Oregon does. Like
Yep.
Oregon's just fine. They have 3 wide receivers out, and they're just fine moving the ball down the field, passing their guys still. So I
Yep.
don't know if the standard is just too high for Ohio State to let them get on the field. I don't know, but
Yep.
anyway. All right. Last correction Ohio State has to make in order to win it all. Zach, go ahead.
Make Jaden Fielding compete with Jackson Corville to see who will place kick. Like, let's be honest. Jaden Fielding lost this game. And it's the second time he's done it.
Don't you think Ohio State still would have lost though, even if they made that kick?
They might have, but it was a lot easier to lose when you missed that kick.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I mean, you give your defense a chance.
Yeah,
missing that kick.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, did you see the video of him arguing with the IU fans?
No, I didn't.
There was a video of IU fans chirping at him and everything when he was like on the sidelines before he was like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna go in there and hit the game winner." So that didn't look great.
Yeah. Yeah, and maybe correction 6 is don't be prideful. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that was the air around Ohio State in that game, but if it was, like, shame on you because Indiana is really good.
Yeah.
Like, really good,
I mean,
man.
he was also out there in warmups. Did you see the other video of him out there in warmups, like hitting the side of the? He was out there kicking from like a corner kick. Essentially, he was kicking from the corner of the end zone, hitting the side of the upright. Like he did it like once or twice out
Yeah.
there, which is like cool. Don't get me wrong, like that's really cool,
Yeah.
and I'm sure that at a certain point you lose track of stuff to do out there. But still, like I don't know. I hate to go after the guy too much, but
Well,
I don't understand why Jaden Fielding is still kicking footballs for Ohio State.
I mean, and this is the thing. Again, it's nothing against the kid, but like, it's what the third chip shot field goal he's missed in high pressure moments. Like 1, it's like, oh, you feel bad for the kid. 3, like that's on you, and that's on Ryan Day. If we're being completely honest, he needs to compete.
Do you know how many 20 to 29-yard field goals have been missed by Power 4 kickers this season?
Oh, gosh. Like total?
Yeah. Every single Power 4 kicker, how many 20 to 29-yard field goals have been missed? We're talking we're talking like 60, like nearly 70 kickers, honestly, because some people use 2, and you're probably looking at 5 or 6 field goals on average each.
I'm gonna say.
So you're looking at probably 350 to 375 attempts.
I'm gonna say 12.
20.
Okay, I shot low.
Yeah, 20, and Jaden Fielding missed one of them.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Which, in fact, 8 of those were in the Big Ten. So Big Ten kickers stink. I don't.
Yeah.
Not all of them, but.
And Bootzilla makes a good point that kickers are going to miss kicks, and it's mental. And I totally agree. First, Radicic missed a 40-yarder, and then he came
27. Yeah.
Yeah, like 40, and then he came back and hit another one. So like, but the thing with Fielding is it's the third one, and it's the third one in a high pressure moment. Ironically, in another 13-10 game. Like it, and you have another kicker that you got out of the portal on your bench. Like that's the other, who can hit a 50+ yarder, by the way.
Yeah.
So if you have that on your bench and your other guy is not helping you, like maybe put them back in a competition and see who's better.
Good point. Good point. Hawkeye assistant to the OC, love that name, by the way, does fill
Mm.
us in here. And great point. He says Big Ten kickers are kicking in tougher conditions, in my opinion, which is a great point.
Yeah, I mean, but a lot of Big 12 teams are kicking them tough weather too, like Utah and BYU,
Not as
and
many as the Big Ten, though.
not as many. But I'm just saying a number of them are kicking, and a number of ACC teams are kicking in rough conditions.
Boston
More northern,
College,
Boston, Pitt.
Syracuse sometimes, yeah, Pitt, but that's, I
Well,
mean, but
yeah,
not the
Syracuse
entire
is in a dome.
conference. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not the entire
Oh yeah,
conference.
Syracuse is in a dome. Forgot about that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh, well, unless they're on the road at Boston College.
right. Yeah.
That would be the other thing. So, all right, good points. Good points. All right, let's get to the last one here, and then we'll pretty much be done with it. Five
Mm.
things Oregon must do to win it all. Now, we've not seen Oregon in about a week, and we won't see Oregon for, I think, when do they play? They play, what was it, the 21st, I think, or the 20th or the 21st. So we'll see them here in a couple weeks to play their game, but going to be interesting what Oregon comes out with, getting healthy, hopefully. Well, I don't want to take that away because that's one of your points, but I'll go with my first thing they must do. Oregon has got to execute and prevent big plays because it's what they've done all season long. It's been one of the things that they excel at better than I think some people give them credit for. They have the third most 20-plus yard plays in the country this season. I read on ESPN that they have the best big play rate of any offense in the country. I think it's like 10.4 or something like that percent, and that's the best of any offense in the country, which is
Mm.
huge. And right now, they are top 3 in allowing 10, 20, and 30 plus yard plays in college football. They are not allowing very many big plays, and if they
Mm.
continue to do that, obviously James Madison, but to do that against Texas Tech, get big plays, prevent big plays, that's going to be huge for them to go and try to get to the national championship and win it all.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
all
That
right,
is
what's
that
yours,
is a
Jed?
big part of it, and they'll be able to do it better if they get healthy, which is my point. And Alta, he's reading me. Get back all the wide receivers. Yes. Get healthy.
Hey, man, if they get Evan Stewart back,
That Evan Stewart is a difference maker. And
mm-hmm.
if he's able to go, like that's I don't know if that will happen. Like there's optimism, um but I like that executing big plays. If you have all your receivers back, that becomes much more of a potential, especially
Mm-hmm.
against teams like Texas Tech and Indiana.
Mm-hmm. Great point. Great point. And I mean the offensive line too, right? I mean
Mm-hmm.
Harkey, World, Poncho there in the middle of the offensive line as well. I mean, but there's just so much potential waiting for this Oregon team. We've seen a good amount of it. Don't
Yep.
get me wrong. Like I'm not saying that like we
Yeah.
haven't seen it or anything, but there's another gear that I think makes this Oregon team the most dangerous team in the college football playoffs because even at not their healthiest, they are still number 5.
Yep.
And even when they had injuries, they still were able to beat Iowa, USC, and Washington at Washington, which we all know Washington has been a much better team at home this season than on the
Mm-hmm.
road. It's not like they just beat a Washington team that was on the road and that didn't play well. They went into Washington, played really well, and took down the Washington Huskies. So a
Yeah.
lot of credit there goes to Oregon for them to even be a 5 seed with all these injuries. They get those guys back, they get healthy. They're the most dangerous team outside of the top 4 teams in
Yeah.
college football playoffs, in my opinion.
It is interesting. I was reading the ESPN pick, like their panel and who they were picking in the playoffs. A lot of people picked Indiana. A lot of people picked Ohio State. A lot of people picked Georgia. One person picked Texas Tech. Nobody picked Oregon. Nobody
They
picked
picked Texas
Oregon
Tech to
to
be
win
in
the
the Final
title.
Four.
No, to win the title.
Okay.
Yeah. Nobody picked Oregon to get past the semis, which I just
So
thought
they
was
all had
interesting.
Oregon losing to Texas Tech or Indiana.
Or Indiana, either Indiana or Texas Tech.
I just don't see how Oregon's going to lose to Texas Tech.
I'm just saying nobody like Oregon is kind of, at least in the national scene, Oregon's kind of laying in the weeds right now.
Yeah.
And I'm just I would not be shocked. This is not a shot at Indiana fans. I would not be shocked if Oregon won it all. Like, I think I would not be shocked if they get revenge. I know we picked Indiana, and I like right now that's who my pick would be,
Hmm.
but especially if they get healthy. And then I think to your point, Isaiah World and Alex Harkey, that's
Yeah, go ahead. You can
my
just do that one
other,
really fast.
my other is like if pass protection can be solidified, that makes them maybe the team to beat. If you remember back when they played Penn State, Lyndon Tangwell, former Penn State guy, really good up and coming analyst, like really good. But he brought up that Isaiah World and Alex Harkey were struggling with pass rush, with pass protection against better pass rushers. And if they can work on that, because they're great, they're really good offensive linemen. But if they can, again, get healthy and really set the tone on the edge, and you give Dante more time, I mean, this could be the most explosive offense in the tournament.
Yeah, I mean, right now, like according to big plays, it is the
They are
most
they are
explosive
the
offense in the
yeah,
country.
they are
Yeah.
the most explosive. But like I think against those key, against the best defenses, I think they would be then effective.
Hmm. Yeah, especially if they get the wide receivers back.
Yep.
We're gonna see a decor. Like I'm not saying he's gonna be Jeremiah Smith or anything like that, but we're gonna see a huge, playoff from Decorian Moore. I mean, he's probably gonna play at least 2 games. Probably he's probably gonna play at least 3 games. I would say.
I he's a different type of receiver,
Yeah,
but
he's not gonna be Jeremiah Smith, but he
yeah,
could
but he
definitely
he
be a
could make an
freshman
impact.
sensation. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and like you could see him making an impact. So he's not a receiver, but I think of Travion Henderson, where he didn't always get a ton of touches at running back, but when he did, you felt it. And I wonder if it could be like that, where he takes a screen 75 yards, or he, takes a slant and cuts through defenders and explodes. Like I think that could be a thing. But yeah, I think he could have a that type of impact if they get him in the right situations.
Hmm. Yeah. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to seeing Oregon in the playoffs. I think it's gonna be fun. Fun stuff.
Mhm.
All right, my second reason, but the fourth reason that we have here is by far the best offensive havoc rate. Oregon has the best offensive havoc rate, which, if you don't know what that is essentially the percentage of plays that Oregon allows a tackle for loss, forced fumble, a ball to be intercepted, or a pass to be broken up. Oregon is so efficient, they do not allow things like that to happen to them very often. They are almost always gaining yards. I mean, they have a very high completion percentage, as Oregon and Will Stein's offense always does. But as the season has gone on, Dante Moore has gotten more comfortable. They continue to be able to do that, make that happen, and this offense is just creating incredible efficiency right now. And like I said, it's not like they did this against Purdue and, sorry people, other Big Ten fans, but Purdue and Rutgers and UCLA at the end of the season. They were doing this against Iowa. They were doing this against the USC team that has a better defense. They were doing this against
Mhm.
Washington, and has played better defense at home than they have on the road this season. They were doing this against, good competition this season, no matter what the SEC, people out there want to tell you. They were doing this against good competition. Were they doing this against elite, national championship contender competition? No, but it's about as good a competition as you can ask that's not playoff caliber worthy competition. I would argue USC was fringe playoff caliber, but the defense was probably not fringe playoff caliber
Mhm.
type of defense. Defense has improved, but it's still not, I don't think, on that level yet, personally. But I'm just saying, Oregon has been incredibly efficient, and the fact that they do not allow those kind of havoc plays to happen against them is just one more reason why this Oregon offense is so spectacular.
Mhm.
So,
I like it. I like it.
all right, any one more. One more, sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Uh
I went two in a row. You get two
yeah.
in a row.
The only thing, like the only thing that I have is like kind of a criticism, but it's not really a criticism because I think they can correct it, is that what one thing they must do, that they must clean up, that they were not great at this season, is they have to stop teams from scoring touchdowns in the red zone. When teams get into the red zone, it's almost a given. They score touchdowns 75% of the time. That is the second worst in all of college football, or actually in all of Power Four football. Do you know who has the worst? And this is all of college football. Do you know who has the worst touchdown percentage allowed in the red zone?
Is it Ole Miss?
No, it's a bad Big Ten defense. They just
Oh,
fired their defensive coordinator.
Rutgers.
No,
It's not
Nebraska.
Rutgers. Oh,
Nebraska.
no. Oh, the other red team that fired their defensive coordinator.
Yes, the other one. But I mean, they did have some success against a couple teams. Against Iowa, Iowa only scored 66% of the time in the red zone touchdown, so two out of the three times, and then Minnesota only scored once out of the two times in the two trips they had to the red zone. So those are not the best offenses in the world, but it's definitely something they could build on. And Indiana only scored touchdowns on 3 of their 5 trips to the red zone against Oregon. So it's not like it's impossible for them to do this. They can make this happen, but they just need to be much, much better. 60% is better for them, but you still can't live with 60% in the college football playoffs. You have to be better than that for them to do it. So
yeah, agreed.
Yeah. Any thoughts on Oregon's defense in the red zone or anything before we're done?
Well, I mean, I think we saw even in the Big Ten championship game, if you can't hold offenses to field goals, it just puts so much more pressure on your offense. And I think we live in a world right now where defense is at a premium. And so to be able to hold offenses to 3 or to turn people over in the red zone is huge, and they're just not doing it. So
Yeah. And, I mean, and Ulta makes a good point. Look at the percentage of teams getting into the red zone. They only have 24 red zone attempts allowed this season. So it's a good point, but still, right? Like you want to limit those even when they do get there, right? So they're not allowing all that many. That does need to be mentioned. Thank you, Alta. But there might be a crucial point in time in one of these games in the playoffs where you have to get a stop. Can you make that happen or not? We'll see. We'll see. Something they have to do, in my opinion. So, all right. I think, man, Zach, that's all we got. Short episode. I know there's some people asking about bowl games and stuff like that. Those were released today. I'll be honest, I did not have enough time today to truly look into those enough, and I did not want to try to come on here and just like spew random thoughts that I have and not actually do some research. So we were not able to cover bowl stuff today. However, if I am able to, I'll put together a bowl video sometime this week. If I can tomorrow, I'll try to put one together tomorrow, and we'll try to. If not, Zach and I will talk about it on Tuesday for the Tuesday night live stream. So
that sounds like a good idea. I think that's a great idea.
All right. Well, just go ahead and do that. Schedule for us to talk Big Ten bowl games on Tuesday night. We'll kind of make it the big thing to talk about there. I'm sure we'll have some news items and stuff like that to talk about as well. But that'll be the big thing for us. So, Zach, any final thoughts?
I think we've put in a fine day's work.
I think we have to. It's only we're not even an hour and 15 in. I feel like we're getting done early.
It's beautiful. I can go to bed.
There you go. You haven't even yawned once. Should we stick around until Zach yawns?
No. I would like to go to bed at a reasonable time.
Oh man. Hey, we appreciate all of you in the chat. We got guys in here saying you guys rock. We just appreciate that you guys come in here and you guys come in here and listen to us. Yeah, and like I said, I would have never thought that this YouTube channel would get to this big. I always thought like, maybe I'll get 1,000 subscribers. But the fact that we've gotten this big and you guys watch us and say you like the show, pretty cool. So,
yeah, it's a real privilege.
Yes, for sure. And I feel like we have our own little, Big Ten football community here. I love that we talk with Ohio State fans, Indiana fans, you got Nebraska fans, you got USC fans. We've had Washington, we have Washington fans in here. We have some Michigan fans in here too. So it tells me we're doing something right, that it's not just like all Ohio State fans listening to us talk about Big Ten stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I'm just rolling through some of the last comments here, but
yeah. Well, The goodbye comments are always the best. So
Yes. Yeah.
I love Bobby Mack. He always ends with the glad you got to see me again. We are glad, Bobby. We are glad. Fluffy is my pillow.
Love you guys. That's so fun.
Pit Knife says your channel is so big. I feel like. I mean, we're not even at 5,000 subscribers yet, but
it's getting
I
big.
appreciate it.
I mean, listen, you were thinking I want to get to 1,000. We're like close to 5,000. So I mean, it's getting up there. By the way, your influence has gotten me invited onto another show tomorrow.
What are you
on? Big Talk with Emily. She's an Oregon
cool.
fan. Yeah, so she reached out, and so at 12 Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. So I will not be tired tomorrow.
Wow.
I know.
Daylight, Zach.
Yeah, daylight, Zach. Yeah, I will. I'll probably still have some coffee. I'll probably nursing a cup of coffee or something at that point. But
yeah.
Oh, yeah,
I knew you weren't mocking Pit Snipe. I knew you weren't mocking. Sorry if I made it sound that way. Sorry. I knew you weren't mocking Pit Snipe. We appreciate having us here. Sorry, I wanted to say that really fast.
Yeah. I forget what I was gonna say, but yeah, like it's cool, like because I'm associated with the show, like I'm getting invites to do other stuff, and yeah, so it's just fun. Things are growing, and it's really fun to do this with you guys. So
for sure. Check out Zach tomorrow at 12 o'clock Eastern time over on Big Talk. Is it just called Big Talk? Is that the channel?
I think it's Big Talk with Emily. So like Big Ten.
Emily.
Yeah, Big Ten Talk with Emily. So
very cool. And she's an Oregon fan, you said?
Yes. Yeah.
There you go. Well, ask her about our 5 things that Oregon must do and see what she thinks.
Oh, that's a good idea. That's a good idea. There we go.
So, all right, everybody. Appreciate you being here. Thanks for coming in, and we'll see you next time. Have a good one.